Okay, so I am going to do a demonstration today, essentially explaining something about a day and night cycle. Now, originally, if you were to do a day and night cycle inside of a scene, it would only stay within that scene itself. So this one is going to help you, particularly if you want the time in order to actually share over from one scene to another. So now this may look confusing. If you don't want to like create this on your own, you can just go ahead and look this up. This is available for you. It is Night and Day Logic by Think of the Kids, and just go for that. And let's see here. So with everything else, this is not important, but essentially we have this variable right here. This is probably the most important one. You just need it to have a variable of 5, and then just leave it at that. The reason why it's 25 is because I kept having issues. If you probably do it whenever you're building it your way, you could probably have it at 24, but I needed it for a very specific reason, and you might see it when I do the show you the recipe. But here we have a holiday thing, but I'll just save that for later. So let's go ahead and get started. So you have the time to where it gets whatever value it is. So whatever the value it is, it will go inside of this, which is the value of 25. Oh, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So 25. It's kind of hard to get that, but do the best you can. And once you have that, you reverse the signal. This isn't really important, but it can still be used regardless. But essentially, instead of putting it for the power, you're going to want to put this in the actual timeline itself. This way, for the keyframes that you have affecting the actual sun and sky properties, it will change the effect of the actual sun. Now, there is another way to do it now with the new update too. This is optional, but say for example, if you wanted to, you could just set it to where this itself will just go in and directly overwrite the actual properties of it. So theoretically, you could do it with that. But I have it set to this specifically because I personally like it this way, and it allows me to get more options for whatever I need it for. And plus, you can experiment with things such as weather, for example. But you may be wondering, now there's an issue. How do you get it to actually go through and play the timeline? Now, you can get a timer, and then this timer, you could set the timer value to whatever you want. But whenever you play, the timer will start counting up. And then that, once it finishes, it will go up and then add one value. This one value will in turn affect the time, therefore changing the hour of what time it is. Now, if you have another time value get property, you can get the value of the time, and if it is equal to the max value, you just simply add one time negative 25, aka resetting it. So then that way it resets. I've tried to do it with variables. So they have a reset function, but sometimes I've had issues with it, and sometimes it doesn't sync up properly. And so far, this has been more of a guarantee, and I highly suggest you go with that. If not, do whatever works for you. Now, you could also do the same thing too. So whenever you get the time, and it is equivalent to 0, so essentially, every time it resets, it will go into a randomizer, and this randomizer will affect whether it is daytime in the properties or whether it's cloudy. So this you can have affect the weather. Now, how you do it is completely up to you, but you can also have it set up. So say, for example, you can also have it to where every time, whenever, let's see. So every time it randomizes, you could set it up to where every hour it will randomly, so whatever the hour is, each time it goes up, it will re-randomize it and then just go through the options again. And then that way, if you wanted to add in such as raining mechanics for one of the later things that I've used for my builds, then this will help you in any way you were using this for. Now, the fog doesn't really have much to do with anything. It's just more of a visual effect. The visual effect kind of looks like clouds. As you can see, it's kind of glitching out, so when you get it, you're going to have to fix it. I do apologize. I don't know why it did that, but it did that. But you can just essentially fix it however you need to and adjust the colors and however you want it to be. But the same thing applies for whenever you modify anything in here, whatever you need it to be. But to be fair, this is the older model. I have redone it in my later version, and I'll just go ahead and show that to you real quick so you can have an idea. Now, this is a project I've been working on for quite a while. If you want, you can watch the live streams for it. But let's see, where is it? I think it's right there. It is. Weather and time. All right. So as you can see, I have definitely modified it intensely, but it has become more of what I need it for its purpose. So now, whenever the time comes in, it will go into this, and anytime it is greater than the value of 0 or equal to it, it can randomize at any time, and then this randomization can just affect anything. So it can affect whether or not the fog is on for the weather, or it could also affect whether or not it rains. And I've also modified it so that way whenever it rains too, you can even have moments to where you can actually see the rain particles around you. But in this moment you can't really see it, but you can, I'll show it to you another time. But essentially that's that for the time mechanic. If you have any questions or anything you would like to know, just go ahead and comment down below and I'll see what I can do. And with that, keep on dreaming.